So today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how your creativity is actually a really great foundation for being able to do a startup, your own business and your own career in your own hands. Because actually your creativity is one of the main assets you have when you start your career. And you can use that. Every business needs some sort of assets to be able to start. You need something to start with. And so often you hear about people going and getting funding from companies like venture capitalists, but that's relying on other people. And with your creativity, you can actually start your own startup yourself without having to rely on other people to be able to give you that opportunity. So when you're starting a business, a lot of people think of it about starting a business as something very serious, a very kind of sensible thing to do. And I just wanted to share a little bit about my journey so far. So I think of starting a business a bit like having an adventure. And so I actually started an airline accidentally a few years ago. And that was because I saw a problem when I was trying to book some flights with them being too expensive. So I just decided to try it and try to start an airline. It's really hard to start an airline. Turns out that it's not an easy thing to do. But what I found out was a huge amount about the aviation industry and how much I didn't want to work in the aviation industry. I also accidentally started a business selling truffles to chefs. Again, I was trying to write a blog post about how to make sure you can weed out the ideas you have that are stupid ideas early. And I did a lot of experimentation, which is one of the things that we teach on our programs, is to just take your ideas and experiment and learn with them and have an adventure. Unfortunately, everything said yes, people do want to buy these truffles. And so I was having this import and export business of truffles, which is a very, very expensive product that goes off very quickly. It's very hard to deal with. And again, I realized that I did not want to be in the import-export business dealing with fresh produce. So I've also done a few things where I've worked with big companies. And most recently, I worked with Vogue. So they do the magazines for people in fashion. And so I ended up actually creating their first business-to-business publication for the fashion professionals in the world. And that was another adventure where I got to go and experience a company culture that they've made films about. You may have seen some of the films about Vogue's company culture, so I'll leave that story there. But it was an interesting experience of working with a very large company to create a new product that actually is still around at the moment. The main thing from all of this is that you'll see up there, there's a little box that says fantastic failures. So my business partner Dan and I sat down and we created a podcast about our fantastic failures, because one of the things that I want you to take away from this little talk is that starting a business, it doesn't have to be serious. It's actually about what you learn on that journey that you go on. And when you do that, every time you learn, you get a bit more. So actually you get more successes the more times you do it. And that's a really, really important thing that we teach, because on our programs we're a little bit different to some of the other startup programs that you might see, because one of the main things we teach you is to quit. We ask you to quit every 2 weeks on our programs if you're doing a startup program with us. And so we say you have to quit after 2 weeks. Or you have to justify carrying on. You have to write down, what evidence do I have that makes me want to try and carry on with this? And if you quit, you have to have a quitting party like you just won the lottery, because it's actually the best decision you can make when you're doing a startup is to quit. Because if you remember, it's just an adventure. What happens as you go along on the adventure is that you get more and more attached to that idea. And in the startup world, what happens is 95 out of every 100 businesses that are started fail. And if something fails, that's something that happens to you. It can be quite an unpleasant feeling when something fails. But quitting is something that's very empowering. It's your decision to make to quit. So we find that that's a really important thing to teach all of the entrepreneurs that we have coming through our programs. So I just wanted to tell a couple of stories of what I mean by creativity. And so these are two stories that are slightly different to the dancing and to some of the kind of TV stuff that we've seen over there. This one over here, the $1 million homepage, was someone having an idea to make money. I'm going to sell every pixel on my homepage for £1. That was his idea. And the thing that made him £1 million was doing it. Just not blocking himself, not going, oh, that's a rubbish idea, that would never work. Actually, he just went and had the adventure, and the guy who created that actually made £1 million from just selling pixels on his homepage. And this guy on the other guy is a man called Sherpa. So he actually was a writer for Big Brother, I think, and The Big Breakfast a while ago. But he took his creativity in a totally different direction, which was he makes novelty toys. And those novelty toys are him just taking words and matching them together and just turning them into physical products. And all he does is he thinks about words, he mixes them together, and then he goes and creates a product. One of his products is just a ball of nothing, so you can give nothing as a present. So the way that he turns that creativity into money is just a really simple link between those words and creating something that people can buy. So we offer you not only the opportunity to do your own startups, but we will pay you to come and do work experience with us. So we run work experience programs where you join with 100 other young people to take part in challenges that we work on, often with our sponsors, who are people like the council or businesses. And so you'll get paid to participate in that and start your journey in bringing your own ideas to life. And so I'd encourage you and people you know to sign up at our website to be able to do that. And I just wanted to leave you with this, which is the key message that I wish I'd known when I started my career is it's just an adventure. It doesn't have to be something super serious, that you can actually bounce from journey to journey and discover new things. And when you think of it like that, it's actually a really fun way to look at your creativity, turning that into the way that you make money for yourself. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that little exploration of what we think of as creativity and how it can be turned into your startup. Thank you. I think we have a panel coming on.
We do. Hello? Yeah, let's get the panel on the stage because we have to finish at 7 or they'll come and take us out in one of those little carts and turn us out into the rain. Who else have we got? Martin. Is it Heather? Heather, Martin. What's the name? Kyle, Sam. Can't forget Sam. Hugo. Sam and I have been trying to meet up with each other for a year and a half. We've had numerous Zoom calls and you've even come down to Open Source Arts. And I've not been there. I was like gutted. Now suddenly we're like, hang on a second. Finally got a chance to meet each other. So I want to talk a bit about whenever you're an edge dweller, right? You're doing your startup, you've got this great idea, and I say edge dweller because you're kind of like on the periphery or the edge of what is ordinary in the work sector or the social sector that you're in. And sometimes it can feel a bit rocky and you want to stay steady. And I think there are two kinds of support that we can give ourselves. One of them is like having a really strong core of conviction, and the other one is having really good quality external handrails that you can lean on, which can come in the form of good friends or colleagues or mentors. So my question is, where do you get your inner strength from, and who or what form your external handrails to keep you steady when it gets rocky so you can stay on course?
Okay, so one of the things that I always did when I first started was I wanted to build my networks, and I always wanted to connect with people who were like me. So one of the things I always did was I wanted to connect with other black women because I wanted to find out about their journey, because it's not an easy journey, especially being based in Yorkshire, who are in the creative sector as a whole, which is how we first met, because you were at Ink Arts, I was at Ink Arts, and it was just a supportive area. So I wanted to start there first and then build outwards. And a lot of the work I used to do is with entry-level people. So it was, how can I connect with others to connect others to other people? Because it's an industry that I work in of connections. And without your connections, it's really hard to get on. If you don't know people, if you don't have someone to talk to, someone to email, someone to just go on LinkedIn with, it makes it even harder. So I would definitely recommend that whatever you want to do, you just connect with people, ask people for a cup of coffee, a Zoom call. 5 minutes is nothing out of somebody's day. So I definitely would recommend it.
Yeah, so as a librarian, we talk to loads and loads of startup people, and they often lose their way along the journey at the same time. I think sometimes it's just actually remembering like why you got into it in the first place as well, and actually remember like what your passion was that's driving it. That's your value proposition. That's why you get out there. People buy into individuals as well, so remember to like actually bring your personality forward, and that will help draw you back into like why you were getting there in the first place, because sometimes you can get lost doing your business plan, you can get lost with all the preparation, but yeah, I think it's just remember you did this for a reason. Why do you love it? And then get back to it as well.
And I think it also helps like if you've got people around you who are also like creative, because then you know they can come to you and be like, I've got an idea, we can do it. Because I mean, nothing stops you from doing that first idea, that second idea. Just doing it, like showing yourself that you can do it and showing that you've got a passion for it, I think also helps a lot.
Thank you. And hi, I'm Heather, by the way, and I ran an events company in Leeds. It was called Midweek Music Club, and we were founded from a community of people looking for a space that didn't exist. So my kind of handrails, my community, was the people around me. As a student, we had so much creativity and so much drive, but we didn't felt like we had a home to put that into. So we had to get together and create that for ourselves. And through creating that, we forged our own pathway into finding out how to do it. And we forged our own connections, not only with each other, but it's a very common feeling, I think. So we found more people who wanted more than was being provided, and our common goal was to take action against that. So I think sometimes even when you feel like, oh, there's no place for my business, or there's no one else around, so I don't know how to do it, it's about just having the passion and the desire to a point where you think, you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to take it for myself. I think.
Hugo.
To you? Sorry.
I love that answer. That was brilliant. So I think everything that you guys have said is already nailed it. I think that the thing that I actually love the word porpoise, because it reminds me of purpose. And so I've done a lot of startups, and now I have a startup that's mission-based. Makes everything way easier, because it's actually not just a problem to solve, it's my problem to solve. I started my first startup when I was 6, and I joke that I have a PhD in failure. You know, I've got a podcast which is Fantastic Failures, and that's what means that I've got something specific to offer in terms of teaching people how to do those startups. Previously, I tried to take on the conveyancing process. I don't know anything about conveyancing. It's just a problem. It wasn't my problem. And I think that personal feeling that you're expressing there with that energy pretty actually resonates with that.
Nice. Me? Oh God, I think strong purpose is super important. Yeah, strong purpose and good company, like good quality company, because sometimes the difference between sticking at it and just packing it in it's a very fine line, and it can just be the enthusiasm and the confidence given to you by the people who are around you. So if the people who are around you aren't supporting you as a human being, then you need better company.
We need to say hello. Forgotten to say hello. Well, I'm Myra, and if we could all say say hello and a little bit about what you're working on at the moment.
I'm Phil, and I'm working on this panel today. keeping the questions lit until the end, because otherwise we could just all fall asleep.
So I'm Kyle, I'm a librarian at the Business and IP Centre in Leeds, so we're in Leeds Central Library, come and have a chat.
Hi, I'm Sam and I work for Triforce Creative Network as a talent development coordinator, helping people get into the industry and hopefully stay in.
Hi, I'm Martin and I work for Employment and Skills, which is part of the council, and we put on this event today. And I make videos.
Hi, I'm Heather. I also work in Employment and Skills as an events apprentice, and I work with arts events and venues as a venue manager too. Oh, you have
Hopefully I already did. I hope I did.
Thanks. So we've got a whole 10 minutes. Has anybody got any questions? Or is anybody thinking of starting something up, and do you have any questions for the panel? Please. Have you got a question? Come on. Hang on. One here first, and then we'll hear from Myra.
Yeah, my name's Judah. I'm 11 and I want to start a startup. And my question is when do you know which is the correct industry for you to go in?
What a great question. When do you know what's the right industry for you to go in? So that can be a journey, and if you want to start a startup and you already know that, what I'd really encourage you to do is, well, first of all, to come on our program because we can help you do that, but actually just try it. And just try it and just recognize that it's an adventure. So you're going to find some stuff out about you, about the world, about what you like doing, about what you don't like doing, and that might work, and you might decide that it doesn't work and try something else. And then you'll have some knowledge to find out which industry is best. But just getting started is a really good starting point, and starting at 11 is a great time to start.
Hi. Yeah, I think it's so great that you're so interested. And I would just say that sometimes you don't have to find the right thing. The right thing can find you. Like, trial and error is such a real... It's a real process, and sometimes it might feel difficult because none of us want those errors in our lives. But I think, like you're saying with your failure and stuff, failure is just the start of a new chapter. So I think it's worth trying whatever you want to do if you feel it's right in the moment, and then if it doesn't feel right later on, just don't feel stuck. There's always further opportunity and another chance.
So, long ago now, back when I was picking what I wanted to do, game design felt like something that would suit me. And then I studied it for 2 years at college and 3 years at uni and realised I didn't like it. So, on the side, I started making videos. Small little YouTube videos, gaming videos, all of that. And then the right people saw them, and now work for the council. So, your journey may be long, but eventually you will find what you want to do, and just follow that. Yeah.
I do think it's a very good question, and I love that you're 11 and you're doing this now. I think it's a difficult one. I never realised what I wanted to do until I was 28, and I still don't think I know what I want to do yet. I'm literally I said earlier, I say yes to things that frighten me, because I think that that's really good for me, because it puts me out of my comfort zone. I said yes to this morning. I didn't even know what it was, but I said yes, and I'm here. And I think it's really important that we do that, because you never know what skills that you're going to get from it. You never know who's going to notice you. You never know what's going to come. I started my first business when I was 31, very reluctantly. I still sort of have it, don't really touch it, and it's figuring out the purpose all the time and being comfortable with failure and just figuring out that it's okay. It really is okay to fail. Like, every day is a learning day, and don't worry about it. You might well have 12 companies by the time you are 22, but at least you're doing something. But remember to write down every skill that you've gotten from every business that you've set up and get it on your CV, is the thing I'd say to you. Never too early to have a CV. Okay.
I think to build up on the points from earlier as well, experimenting is really good, and then just finding out what it is that you want to do. But don't worry about actually needing to know everything, because there's a lot of support out there for you as well. So remember that someone probably knows the answers to the problems you're coming through as well. So talk to other people, but also know what services are in your area as well, because they'll be able to help you build on your project as well. So you're never alone with that as well.
Great question. Any more questions?
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Just one extra thing. We've talked a lot about failure, right? And it's loads easier to bounce back from failure if you really love and care about the thing that you're doing. So I think, like, big important thing, if you're going to start a startup or do any project, try and do something which you really love and which you really care about, because it makes it easier to keep going whenever you get a setback. Not just something that you're good at, but something that, like, you really love. What was your question?
No, I'm wondering if there are any more questions.
Any more questions from the audience? Gabby, have you got a question? Have you got a question? You have a little cry, sorry. It's been so brilliant. And also, I'd like to give a big round of applause to the team that's put this all together today, because you've all been working super hard behind the scenes. And to all of the dancers who've been performing every hour for 5 or 6 hours, like, big massive round of applause. And to all the exhibitors, huge round of applause for all of you. Thank you. I give you the microphone, you can say it yourself.
And a huge thank you to Open Source Arts for all of this. They've been working non-stop since 7. Amazing, thank you.
We've been trying to get Gabby on stage all day, so we've got a little bit of time for any last sentiments from the panel. Would you like to just give a couple of closing words, maybe like the last little bit of advice before we close, and then we can wrap up the day? And let's just do a round and then we can finish. Thank you.
Just that your ideas have power as well, so please do, like, keep coming up with new ideas as well, but remember that also you can build on that as well. So I mean, don't forget about us. You can do that.
Keep going is what I would say. Often at the time that you're worried that it's not working is a time that success is ready to come. And always ask for help. There's always somebody. I always believe that people can offer you at least 5 minutes of their time just to listen, and that's so important. So just keep reaching out and keep pushing on.
If you don't have the motivation to do something at this moment in time, write it down. You can do it later. There is no rush on your ideas.
I think I would say that even if you do end up doubting what you're doing, don't doubt yourself. Your idea doesn't have to be a reflection of who you are, and one failure doesn't make you a failure. 100 failures doesn't make you a failure. And just to make sure that you don't get yourself too bogged down in the bad stuff, especially when you're starting, because you're not used to it yet.
Absolutely, all of that, right? And have fun. The whole point is it's an adventure, right? That is about having fun and discovering stuff and enjoying it.
And I would say always remember the power of your enthusiasm. For whenever we have a good idea, we're like, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody because I'm afraid they might steal it. And I want people to remember how powerful enthusiasm is in getting your idea out there and for other people to join you in making your idea happen. So share and talk enthusiastically about it.
Yeah.
People aren't going to steal it because they don't love it as much as you, so just talk about it and do it.
And all the hard work still to come when you have an idea.
Yeah. Okay, big thank you to all the panelists today. Big thanks to Myra. Big thanks to David, who's been doing the sound, and also to, where is he, Andy, who might be behind the projector screen.